Alright. Ooh, it's dark. Kyle's
Brian.
Kyle's podcasting in the dark. It looks scary.
Hey, look, it's the bum from the dark. Good job, you bum.
Sorry to hear about your Oilers.
Oh, you know what? I haven't even been following it. Did they lose again to Chicago?
Yeah, they're knocked out.
Shit. No. No. That sucks.
Yeah, my Montreal Canadiens, though, they've advanced to the next and first official round of the playoffs next week, so that's good. I'm excited for that. Well, you can see my Habs sign in the background, and there's me and my son at a Habs game, and a picture there above the Rocky. So the loves of my life, Habs and Rocky. But this is neither a Habs podcast. This is barely a Rocky podcast because we're covering Creed. How you doing there, Kyle?
I the lights here. My other lights burnt out.
It's up to you. We have about 4 people that actually watch the video.
I prefer the dark.
We have 4 people that watch the video, so it's fine. It's fine. I think it's Adrian, Lewis, I think Melissa Ann, our one female listener. Actually, no, we have 2 female listeners. We're going to get to that. But Melissa, she's our Patreon female. I think our only Patreon female. She watches the video. So let's be honest. People are not coming to our show to watch the video. But if you are, welcome to Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. We're going to roll right into it. We've got a lot of emails, reviews. People have been very kind lately, so let's roll into it. I got this message on Facebook. Every now and then, it's kind of cool, but somehow people find me on Facebook, which is weird. I guess that's not too hard. So this is from Katie, and she sent this about a month ago, and I feel bad. I said I'd read it out, but she's gone back to the beginning of the podcast, but she wanted to reach out saying that she's listening to the podcast, but she's starting at the beginning. And she says here, goes, "Hi, Ryan and Ruben." So you can tell she's still listening to the beginning. She's going to be heartbroken to find out that Ruben left. But I did tell her that when I read this message out, that she'll hear this anyways. Okay, so welcome, Katie, to the future, where Kyle's now the co-host. She goes, "Hi, thank you so much for Going the Distance podcast. I've just discovered it and am finishing up on the Jessica Friedman interview from early 2017. That was a great interview I did. Boy, that seems like yesterday, but that was 3 years ago. Crazy." She goes, "I have a lot of episodes to get through, but loving it so far. I was born in 1981 in middle America. I'm the youngest of 3 girls, and while we're all huge fans, I'm by far the biggest fan. My bloodhounds are named Rambo and Balboa. I'm a girly girl." It's true. She's kind of cute. I creeped her profile. Hey, it's only fair because she found me on Facebook. I had to look. Sorry, Katie. She's a good-looking woman, so I'll give her full credit. She's not just a Rambo and Rocky nerd, but she is a girly girl. And she goes, "I'm a girly girl, too, so in case you ever want a female fan perspective, hit me up." All right, well, I just hit on her, so maybe... Kyle, come on. This is just banter. I'm just joking around. Don't worry. You're all worried about a lawsuit coming my way.
I haven't said anything.
I'm watching your face.
I think you're projecting your own thoughts a little bit.
Sure I am. She's an attractive woman. Why would I say it? Of course she is.
I have no objections to anything so far.
Of course. I'm not saying anything derogatory. Okay, she's ugly. She's an ugly fan, but I like what she has to say here. Okay, so she goes on to say, but she does want to come on the show. So, sure. We haven't had a female perspective in a long time. Actually, almost since Jessica Friedman. We've had a few female guests. So it'd be great to actually have you know what? Maybe I should fire Kyle and get a better looking co-host. And no, I'm joking. But
I'd do it. If I were you.
Wow, he's really bought and sold on this podcasting.
I'm objective, okay? I take my personal feelings out of this. And...
You're like, that's okay. I'm out of here. George Washington Duke hit me up with a better deal. Come on, it's a good Rocky 5.
So it's just freezing.
Oh, is it freezing? Oh, I apologize. Okay. I just thought my jokes weren't landing. I was saying you got a good deal from George Washington Duke you're going to take up.
Yeah, sorry. I missed everything you were saying. That's why I was like, ugh.
Oh, no worries. Okay. So we'll keep reading. So anyways, yes, Katie, if you're listening to this part, I haven't totally thrown you off. We'd love to have you on in all seriousness. So hit me up again on Facebook. And if you want to come on and guest with me and Kyle, I wouldn't just kick Kyle off. But it'd be kind of cool to have a female. And if she's good, having a three co-hosts or a guest co-host female perspective, I think actually really would be fantastic. And it might help protect Tessa Thompson a little bit when we get to her. So that might be a good idea. All right. She goes on to say...
Yeah, like an MMF Facebook or...
MMF. Male, female? Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like an MMF podcast.
Yeah, we could have a good MMF.
Male, female.
Yeah. A good little video that people could watch. And for Patreon, if you give us $100, we'll take off our clothes. Well, Kyle will. I think Kyle will do it for $5, quite frankly. In fact, we'll give him $5 to put on his clothes.
For nothing. Yeah, exactly.
I apologize if it's freezing on your end. It always buffers at the beginning, but it corrects itself out. But the good news is, again, it doesn't affect my side. I don't know why it does your side, but okay. Anyways, she goes on to say, honestly, I'm not sure yet if you're done or not, but I hope you keep it going. So she really was new. I did message her afterwards saying, yes, we're still going. We're still a podcast. So she really started at the beginning, and she wasn't even sure when she wrote this if we're still a podcast. That's cool. She goes here.
Dear Ryan, if you're still alive,
yeah.
I just want to let you know that I thought you did your best, and that's all you can really ask.
And dear Ryan, are you still married? She goes on to say, I got to disagree a bit on Rocky V. I actually really appreciated that it was a street fight. So she likes the street fight.
Wow, that's a first.
Well, no, she's not alone. It's funny how many people do. It's weird. But I'd be interested to hear why she thinks that. So anyway, so she would like to guest host. She's enjoying the show. Maybe she stopped listening because it's been a month. But I'm going to let her know that we've given her a shout out. Katie, hope you're still listening. I think she is because she likes our Facebook group and likes the posts that are on there. So I assume she's still listening. So Katie, thank you, and I hope you appreciate my little banter humor. But it would be really cool to have a female voice. And we haven't had a female co-host. I've had female guests, but I've never had actually somebody crack wise about Rocky with me, so to speak, as a co-host. That'd be kind of interesting. Okay, so that's that one. And then we got some emails. First of all, let's go to we have a new iTunes review. This is exciting. This guy's from Australia. His name is Rob, and he's part of the Facebook group, because when I posted this in the Facebook group, he's like, hey, that's me. So this is Rob. Rob, thank you so much for your awesome review from Australia. He says, fairly new to these podcasts, but the boys do an amazing job of breaking down and talking everything Stallone, and now I tune in all the time. He says, if you're a big fan of the big guy, he says, just like he is, he goes, then this podcast is for you. Keep up the good work, guys, from your fan in the land down under. Thank you, Rob. That was very cool and very kind. And I think he's also talking about the other podcast dudes on the feed now, because he's a new listener. So he's seen the Rocky Minute and the Slycast coming in on the feed. So
yeah.
So that's cool, because he's saying fairly new to these podcasts and the boys. So that's kind of cool. He's one of our first new listeners at the feed with everyone on there together. So that's cool. It's working. That's what it's for. Everyone
new generation.
That's right. New listeners coming in, and we wanted that. So when people we've hijacked it. So if you write Stallone podcast, we come up. That's pretty cool. All right. Here we go. Emails. We got a few. Sorry, I was organized. I am organized. This one is from, of course, our buddy Greg the First. It says, Dear Ryan and Kyle. Oh, sorry, that's Adrian, my bad. We do have one for Greg. We'll get to him. This is from Adrian Wallet, one of our Patreons, faithful listeners. He goes, Dear Ryan and Kyle, I have an intriguing question to pose to you. I'm a big fan of parallel universes, time travel escapades, and so forth. Anyhow, I was wondering if you could reverse the result of any boxing match within the Rocky films, so turn a victory into a loss or a loss into a victory. Which one would have the biggest impact on the future of Rocky's life? And could you make a good guess of how his life would have panned out afterwards?
Okay, I think I got the answer to that. If you switched Rocky 2 to a loss, that would have the biggest impact, because he never would have been champion and he wouldn't have had another shot at it.
Yeah.
Maybe he would have gone to have a boxing career, but probably the physical damage he took from the second fight, and having lost it, he probably wouldn't be licensed and stuff. So yeah, I think that for sure would have the biggest impact.
Yeah, I think the Rocky 2 loss would have been like, oh well, sorry, that's a terrible Rocky. I'm not a very good one, but he goes, yeah, I swatted at the champ a few more times. He's the champ. He's the best. I got 2 chances to tangle with the champ. But I'm just gonna live my life with Adrian the Razor Kid. So
Yeah,
that's what he would have done. I think he just would have been like, I got to go toe to toe with the champ twice. I went the distance again, but he beat me by 1 second. And I think Apollo would have been, that's enough. I'm done. I'm done with this Rocky guy.
yeah, yeah. He wouldn't have been like, I gotta go for the knockout this time.
Yeah, Rocky 3, Apollo's knockout.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Although honestly, Rocky 3 also had a parallel universe where Rocky loses to Clubber, and then Apollo comes back and beats Clubber, which is kind of that's like the real life thing, like kind of like with Foreman beating Frazier, and then Ali coming back to beat Foreman. What they did in the Rocky film was just transform Rocky into an Ali type or Apollo type character. But I think it would have been interesting because Clubber was talking all that shit to Apollo anyways. That would have been cool if Apollo came out and then like just uses speed and finesse to beat Clubber.
Right.
That would have been a cool parallel universe too, I think.
Another good one, and it ties into, of course, to our Creed franchise discussion, is Apollo not dying in the ring, and him being there for Adonis. So
yeah,
I think
I think Apollo would have been like a broken man though if he didn't die in the ring. Like, say he just lost really badly.
Right.
I think he would have been like living in, I don't know. He probably would have been just. Would he have done some other type of stunt to kind of redeem himself, or would that kind of humble him and make him give up on boxing totally and just accept the fact that he's not a fighter anymore? I don't know. Because it's like the loss to Rocky was still respectable. Like, he pummeled Rocky really bad, and he only lost by 1 second. So it's like, it's kind of hard to it's hard to look down on him for that loss. But and I guess the loss to Drago would have been respectable in the sense that he was way outmatched, and still, like, that would have been pretty humiliating to be like almost killed or something. But yeah, I mean, he would have gotten over it maybe.
We would like to assume he would have gotten over it and maybe been a part of his son's life. He would have obviously probably divorced Marianne, so who knows? Maybe he would have become more broken, divorced,
Or what if like you did you kept the Ali analogy going, in that he survived that fight, but he like developed like serious injuries and like Parkinson's or something else, or he's like physically disabled.
Yeah, there you go. There's a lot. That's a whole episode really of different storylines. But it's a great question, Adrian.
Yeah, it was really good.
He says here, I personally believe the biggest sliding doors moment could actually be a fight Rocky was not directly involved in, which we just discussed. I agree. He goes on to say, imagine if Apollo Creed destroys Ivan Drago. There you go. Ivan would scuttle back to Russia with his tail between his legs, and Apollo and most likely Rocky would retire happy. Rocky would also be at home and not Russia, and would possibly be able to keep a closer look at his finances, and hopefully wouldn't have lost his home. So there you go. Imagine if Apollo, for whatever reason, just has superhuman strength in the ring, unbeknownst to everyone, beat Drago in that exhibition fight. Apollo would have kept his dignity, wouldn't have lost. Rocky wouldn't have lost the money in Russia. That's interesting. A lot of things would have been different.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say that you could also stretch this timeline further and suggest Adrian would have access to better health care and may have survived cancer. And Rocky would most likely never come across Tommy and Adonis, however.
The possibilities.
It's a very philosophical discussion at the end of the day, how our choices truly have a ringing effect or ripple effect. Though they might seem small and insignificant at the time, they can really have it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, just my job. Like, I chose a career almost on a whim in the military recruiting center. I picked one trade over another, and that trade, or that that job in the military has taken me to places, and I've met people, and it's affected my life in ways that it would have been different. Not to get too personal, I'll cut this part out of the audio, but I guess the Patreon people get to hear. It's not that big of a deal, but I mean, I'll just say there was people that entered my life because of my trade choice that affected my marriage, the first one. And I'll just leave it at that. You can make up in your mind what could or couldn't happen with whatever partner. That's fine. I'm just saying those individuals I would not have met because it would have been different people had I been in a different line of work. So it's interesting. And then I'm now in my second marriage, and I have a wonderful life with my current wife. I'm just saying that's what the ripple effect. What can seem like an innocuous choice in one little moment of finite time, which it was when I made this choice to pick this career over this career in the recruitment center. Little did I know that picking one over the other would have the effects that it did, the rippling effects. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's like people have those theories that like every decision you make, there's like a new parallel universe branches off.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting to think about.
It is interesting. He looks forward to hearing our ideas. Well, we gave them. Adrian, I hope you liked them. Thanks always, he says, for delivering a knockout podcast. Kind regards, Adrian. Well, thank you so much, Adrian. Thank you for your great emails. Go check out Adrian, his podcast. I always forget, it's the Arcade Attack podcast. Yes, what they do is they deal with retro video gaming. It's really cool. I've listened to a few episodes. I'm not a big gamer. He knows I'm not a big gamer, so I haven't listened to a lot of them, but I listened to the episodes of games that I did play when I was a kid. A lot of old Sega games, of course, the Rocky games. I listened to those episodes, but he's great. He's a really nice guy, and he's a great supporter of the show, so thank you so much, Adrian. Okay. Greg, this is from the other Greg. The other Greg, he wrote us, he says, Ryan, Kyle, you guys are off to a great start on the Creed series. I've really enjoyed your coverage. Thank you. Just wanted to follow up on the discussion around little Duke and Adonis. When Duke tells Adonis that he won't train him and won't let anyone else train him, I believe this is driven by an impulse to protect Adonis and not an act of hostility. He goes on to say, I believe that Duke sees Adonis as an educated young man in his late 20s, raised in privilege, and he surmises that Adonis is engaging in petulant searching driven by daddy issues. I just want to say that Greg, or the other Greg, that his English has really come along. He's using big words here.
He has a complex now. You've given him a complex. Didn't we say something like that? Did we have a different thing? Maybe did we not? I don't know. That's what I thought we were saying. Maybe we didn't say it well. Maybe our English sucks.
Maybe our English sucks, but no, the other Greg, and all of our emailers know, and they're patient with us, is sometimes the emails are a little bit behind. We did talk about in an episode after, I think, that he sent this, of course, and that he did.
Oh, okay.
That we talked. Yeah. We did talk about how Adonis is educated, and both Rocky and Little Duke kind of saw that, and that he has other choice. Yeah, but. He goes, as far as Duke is concerned, Adonis cannot possibly have the eye of the tiger, which is true. Like, he's not that street tough. He's not, he's a little bit soft because he was raised on, on a feather down pillow and not literally the streets.
Yeah, he's like half soft because he grew up with some stuff, right?
Right.
But then it's been a while, so he's not like
He goes on to say, furthermore, Duke fears that the shadow cast by Apollo is dangerous for Adonis. It will make him a mark and subject him to unfair comparisons. He cannot possibly live up to his father's legacy. Of course, as an audience member, that's the thrill of the story, watching Adonis wrestle with his identity and ultimately achieving some form of
actualization.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it's 11 o'clock at night for me. I've been up since 5 in the morning, so if I get a little bit tongue-tied, it's just my mouth is tired. My tongue is tired. But I have a lot of energy. Don't worry. I'm excited to record. I have a lot of energy for the show, but my mouth might be a little bit drunk. He goes on to say, what Adonis discovers is that he is part Johnson, part Creed. He must draw upon the strength he can derive from these dual identities that are admittedly in some conflict. To me, that's the beauty of this film. In any event, I took Duke's refusal to train Donnie as tough love and not as aggression. Keep up the stellar work, the OG, other Greg. I love it, the OG. That's awesome.
I mostly agree with that. I think honestly, like, it's probably a mix. Like, I don't think anything he said's wrong necessarily. I think there is a bit of hostility as well. Like, I think it's kind of like a brother that you love, but like pisses you off at the same time.
True.
Where like you want him to do well and you want him to do good things, but like he's a jackass, and you get annoyed with him. And I get that a little bit, that kind of sense from Little Duke towards Adonis. But I think, yeah, the overall thing is he doesn't want Adonis to enter this life that he doesn't need to enter.
Agreed.
Agreed.
He goes on to say, thank you, slight edit. He says that he thinks Adonis is in his mid-20s. The other Greg, I'm going to have to push back on that as well. And this isn't Greg's fault, because the movies have at times had the age of the characters or the events of the movies equal the time of the movie's release. And then they've had it where it's not that case. And they've done both issues within the universe where both can't be true.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm kind of the mind to really force the issue of when the movie was released, because it kind of parallels the age of the actors, like thus the Rocky character, I should say, in particular. So Adonis, if you're to use it as 2015, he is 30 because he was born in 85, which would have been right after the events of Rocky 4. So that's where we got the 30 from. But it's fair to say, sure, let's pretend Creed takes place in 2010, or you could argue that Rocky 4 took place later. Who knows? There's no way of determining a lot of these years. Because we have Mickey dying 3 years before the movie Rocky 3 was released. It's all over the place. Oh no, Mickey died in 1981 or 2, which was when Rocky 3 came out. But the events of Rocky 3 don't take place. It's one of the other, they had the gravestone.
Well, we have one piece of evidence. Oh, sorry, you say the gravestone?
Yeah, the gravestone or whatever, or the ashtray head or whatever. Ashtray. Okay, so thank you, other Greg, and thank you for your patronage as well. It's appreciated. There we go, Greg the First. Oh, Greg the First always comes in hot, comes in strong, comes in big. He goes, great. I'm only 2 recordings behind at this point. He goes, I know I'm a Patreon member and could try to listen to these episodes sooner, but there's just too much going on. I will continue to chime in after the fact, and hopefully the things I bring up aren't covered and or irrelevant by the time you record again. Thanks, Greg the First. Okay, so he's referring to... Oh, I see. Okay. He's actually just responded to an email that we read on the last episode. Okay. Because I said that we would take care of that, and we did. Because, yeah, he talked about Apollo stepping out, so we did address that in the last recording. Thank you, Greg the First, though I think he has another one we'll get to. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Barry Walker. This is Baz. He's on Twitter. And he's also a Patreon member. He said, "Hi Ryan, thanks for the update. Despite being a Patreon, I wait for the podcast show in podcast form." So he's one of our guys that doesn't watch the video. He waits for the edit. I don't blame him. We take a lot of crap out that makes for a better audio sometimes than what we record. He goes, I watch too much TV or YouTube, so really like the experience of just listening. Hopefully, hope you're well, and I'm actually just laid in bed now. Oops, that sounds wrong, he says. About to listen to the Matt Damon episode. So he's talking about my other podcast. Check it out. Worst of the Best podcast. Thank you, Barry, for listening to that podcast as well. And he's listening to the Matt Damon episode. I just want to make sure that I didn't read this one. Yeah, we did read that one. Okay, so again... We got one. Here we go. New one. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Hector, our favorite wrestler, he sent us an email, and want to give a shout out to Hector. Kyle, he became a Patreon. He subscribed to our Patreon. So thank you, Hector, our favorite wrestler. Very kind of you. I really want to support this guy. I really do. I just love everything he does. His little YouTube videos on Twitter that he posts. He's got a heart of gold. He's a great father, great husband. He works hard. He's just my kind of guy. He's just a really cool guy. All right, Hector, he says, greetings. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Wanted to respond to episode 2 of Creed and tell you guys what is said since I'm a Spanish speaker. While Adonis is in Tijuana, Mexico, taping up, the Mexican fighters coach... Yeah. He said,
I forgot about this. Yeah.
He says the Mexican fighter's coach says, quote, he came a long way. He came a long way, Chavato. No, I won't do it.
Just don't. It's not even a race thing. It's just your accent sucks so fucking bad, Ryan.
Chavato, cambie. Oh, senor.
Although your Mickey impression makes up for everything, though.
That's the only thing I can do well is my Mickey. That's the only thing. Look, if I didn't try, I would just be bored. I know my accents suck. I know. Okay, he goes on to say, okay, so this is what the trainer says. He goes, he came a long way to fight. He came a very long way. We're going to send him back home in a wheelchair. And then he finishes the tape job and he says, is it tight enough, fool? He actually says that. And the fighter says, it's good. And the coach goes, staring into his father's eyes, this is our town. We're going to show him what we're made of. And then he gives an affirming slight slap to the cheek. There you go. So that was the dialogue.
He got knocked out like immediately.
He did. Yes, he did. But he goes on to explain, this is kind of interesting. He goes, so Hector says, I live in Los Angeles. Since it's not far from Tijuana, I've wrestled and dealt with promoters from Mexico. This dialogue does not convince me that they are from Tijuana. This being a seedy underground boxing show, I would have expected some profanity, something a little coarse. Okay, not everyone in Tijuana is lowbrow, but this scene needed lowbrow to get the point across. It's an okay scene, but as for me, didn't convince me that they were from Tijuana. The trainer's Spanish was too proper. There seemed to be some words he did ad-lib, like gooey, which is translated to fool. But this is our town, we're going to show them what we're made of, is not something a Mexican from Tijuana would say. That's straight from the scriptwriters who probably punched it into their Google Translate. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but I'm going by experience. He would have said something racist, that's interesting, then mentioned Adonis's mother in a way that would beat him up. I've had promoters smile, curse me out, and say something racist to me, thinking I'm white, until I confront them in fluent Spanish. They make this face like the poop just went straight back into their butts. Anyway, episode 2 was great, honest. I was jogging and kept jogging just a little bit more just to keep listening. Have a great one and keep punching. Hector Canales.
Man, I love that shit. I love getting that inside info, like from, like a Spanish speaker. Hector, my friend, I want to visit Tijuana, but I'm terrified. So if I'm ever in LA, which I likely will be after COVID, like like karate organization has big tournaments in LA. I invite you to come with me to Tijuana. I will buy you a beer or two and some tacos or whatever's good down there.
I was gonna say, if you go to Tijuana with Hector, I'd feel a lot safer.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go there by myself. I'd be too frightened.
But what I find interesting is, like, even he was called, like, racist names, but yeah, look at that dirty gringo, but he's like, I'm actually Spanish there, boys. So it's interesting. Racism or racial comments, they're everywhere, from Spanish to whites and whites to Spanish and blacks to white. It's like, it's an all races do it. But anyways, go ahead.
Do you know Tom Segura, the comic?
Yes.
Okay, so he's his mom's Peruvian, and so he's a fluent Spanish speaker, and he's starting to do a lot of stand up in Spanish.
Oh.
And he was saying that, like, the jokes you can use with, like, Latino audiences are jokes you couldn't use here anymore, but you could, like, 15 years ago. It's like they're not politically correct here.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, so this is from Clayton Ibrahim, or Ibrahim Clayton, I should say. He's emailed this before, I believe, but he says, "Hey Ryan, just listen to your spiel." Okay. It's not that I shouldn't read this. He actually was writing me about the Worst of the Best podcast. But he did go on to say here, loving the Creed commentary and really enjoyed the Slycast Roundtable episode. Have a good day, buddy, and all the best to Kyle. Keep up the great work, Ibrahim. There you go. Short and sweet, but great. Thank you. All the best to you, Kyle, apparently.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Last but certainly not least, Greg the First, he closes up our email section by saying, Ryan and Kyle, just wanted to put out a couple quick thoughts on the second Creed episode. Overall, I'm thoroughly enjoying your Creed breakdowns so far. Number one, okay, I love this. Okay, Kyle, I don't know if you listened to our post-production show.
What?
Like,
What is that?
well, like the show after we were like when it gets released on the iTunes feed or whatever. Or,
Yeah.
do you listen to it?
Oh, I have. I haven't lately,
It's
but
no, it's fine. You don't have. You're the co-host. You don't have to. I listen to it not out of what's the word I'm looking for? Out of some narcissistic need. I just do it to make sure it
oh
sounds.
yeah, like if I'm
I just do it to make sure it sounds good and it came through properly. And because there's been a couple times in the years that I've podcast where it's the wrong episode I uploaded or it wasn't the edit or whatever it might be. So I always listen just to make sure the right product went out. But anyways, what I do, the reason why I ask is at the beginning of each episode for this, and I'm going to keep doing it despite Greg the First's hatred for this, what I'm about to explain. You people who are listening to this right now heard it, is I go on YouTube and I Google Creed with arms wide open cover, and I pick the most recent upload because there are hundreds a day. I swear that people do a karaoke type version rendition of that song, and I do like a 15-second clip from their terrible singing because this is our Creed podcast. That's it. That's the joke. It's the intro music. It's very Monty Python. It's very.
I know that. I've not listened to the Creed ones. Yeah.
So so he goes on to say, he says, number one, I absolutely, and he says with asterisks, hate the new theme song. So let me just say, I want to make it clear, it's not the new theme song, Greg the First. It's a new theme songs. Every new episode has a new. It's a new person covering the song.
Oh, he'll be fine with that. Yeah. He's like, oh, okay, no big deal.
And to make it more fun, I always get people where their first language isn't English. I don't know why it makes it more funny, but
Times my dolphin.
yeah, you got to hear him. It's hilarious. So Greg the First, I'm sorry. It is. He says, obviously, I know why you chose it, but it just makes me cringe rather than being funny. You know what? That makes me laugh even more. So Greg the First, cringe away, or let's be honest, it's 15 seconds. It's at the beginning. Just skip the 20 seconds. I won't be offended, but I'm not changing it. Not even for you, Greg the First. So he goes on to say he wishes I did something like Living in America or some other homage to Apollo. Sorry, it's going to be Creed. Number two, he says, I really like the Iron Man analogy that you made comparing Adonis to Tony Stark. I'm a huge MCU nerd also, so that one hit home for me. Unlike you, I'm not a fan of Tony Stark, but I can totally understand. He is a fan of Tony Stark, but I can totally understand him not appealing to everyone in the audience, especially in the earlier movies in the series, but I think the character is completely redeemed by the end of Endgame. His character arc is one of my favorites, so I think my hope for Adonis and the Creed franchise is that his character continues to evolve as well, and maybe wins over some of the Rocky fans that found him unlikable in Creed or Creed 2. That's all for now. Greg the First. There you go. Any thoughts on that?
No. Honestly, that's like Greg. He knows what's up.
No, he's better at this than we are. Like, he's what I love about Greg the First. He's not afraid to tell us where we could do better, and I'm not afraid to tell him we're not going to do better. All right, new followers for you, Kyle.
I think I might have a couple.
I think you do.
Now we had Miguel already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's one more, Jason Sutter.
Yeah, you got two.
Husband, father, son. What's that?
You have two. Do you have Seago still?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you have one called Seago. And this
one
one's
just not at the top of my following.
Yeah.
Usually it's like people are at the top.
Let me speak to Seago because I know exactly who he is. In fact, he's a Patreon. But I'm a little bit miffed. I'm not going to lie to you. You know why? Because he's following you. He doesn't follow me. And he actually... No, listen. We actually talk on Facebook. We actually have Facebook conversations. I know exactly who he is. Seago. Anyways, let me tell you about Seago. He's that cynical Dutch ex-gen guy who is middle-aged and ripped. Yeah, that's him. That's Seago. He's a bit of a conceited prick.
Christ.
I love him. No, come on.
The Dutch are the coolest.
Yes.
Like, if you're Dutch, you're already in my good books.
But he doesn't pull any crap, so he knows that I'm just teasing him with that. But he's conceited, but he's allowed to be. He works out. He's in shape. He's very intelligent. He probably speaks 5 languages. He doesn't take any gruff, but he's following you. He doesn't even follow me, Seek. What the hell? Anyways, he's one of your followers.
He just wanted to get a shout out on the show because he knows that's
maybe. Yeah, that's
true. Or I
true.
think he unfollowed me. I don't know. I don't see him on here.
No, he's still there because that's why I was able to find it because I went to your followers.
What's his name?
SICCO.
Yeah, so that's weird. I don't see him.
Okay.
But
okay, well, he is following you. I've got proof here. Then Jason Sutter that you mentioned. Yeah,
that's what I see him here. I'm gonna follow him right now.
There you go. Well, no, you and Sequel can be best buds. He won't message me anymore. We've had some good times, me and Sequel, but I guess they're over now. Just joking. You're not a prick. I was just joking. That's what friends do. Anyways, okay. Jason Sutter, he follows you, and he follows the show as well. Thank you, Jason, for your support. He's a husband, father, son, brother, principal, Hogs, Huskers, Breckenridge, Cabo, Travel, Music, God, and Family. Hashtag never yield. Oh, sorry.
Never yield.
Never yield. My goodness. I'm sorry.
Never yield.
I've been up since 5 a.m. Build value and keep punching. Very cool. Very cool.
In Beatrice, Nebraska.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So thank you, Jason. Thank you for following the show and listening. I assume you're a listener. But anyways, thank you for following the show. Okay, I know it was a big intro, but like I said, there's a lot going on. And we did talk about that because we're only recording once every 2 weeks, that the episodes might be a little bit longer, or a little bit more full to make up for that. And the mailbag portion was great and offers a lot of great discussions. If you want to send us an email, gtdwithrr@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Going the Distance. Follow us on Twitter, Going the Distance Podcast, or Rocky Series Podcast. You'll see it there. And lastly, if you want to become a Patreon, thank you, Hector. Become a Patreon, guys. Help pay for the feed. Become a community just for $1. $1 is all you need to do to help pay for the feed. If we get 40, that pays for the feed. There you go. Let's go to the movie. Where we last left off, Creed or Adonis and Rocky had their little conversation in the restaurant. Adonis asked Rocky to train him. Rocky said, "Nope, I don't do that anymore. I don't even go to Mickey's gym." So we're getting an idea that Rocky has really let go of boxing, doesn't care anymore. Let's roll into the next scene.
Let's do it.
In boxing, fighters' origins can endure as the most sacred element of their identity, shaping choices that can change their lives forever. Freddie Ricky Conlon is a faithful son of Liverpool, England, a place where people find hope in the tales of their heroes. But for the undefeated best pound-for-pound boxer in the world, the future is filled with uncertainty.
Okay. So we have the scene here of Adonis in his apartment on his iPad watching a HBO segment either on YouTube or on HBO streaming services, whatever. It's a clever little way of us seeing in the movie who the real life champions of the world are, and just like it's playing out. So we, as a viewer, see this HBO special, but we also get a little synopsis on the history of who this guy is at the same time that Adonis gets who this guy is. Of course, Adonis would just know who he was because he's a boxer or champion of the world. But we see here that...
I could see him watching this, though.
Say again?
I could see him watching this. Like, him watching this is realistic. Like, he would be someone who would watch this, and this is how we would learn about it in real life, too, as we'd see it on YouTube or something nowadays. So I love that they did this. This was great.
It's very clever. Like, it's a way of moving the story, but also explaining to us as the audience, who is this guy? Who is this future nemesis we probably are going to see face off with Adonis? His name is Pretty Boy Ricky Conlon. And during this HBO segment, we're about to see that, well, we see a newspaper clipping here. It says, Conlon facing gun possession charges. and he could serve up to 7 years behind bars with this charge. And the
Ouch.
Rocky series has always been very good about propelling the storyline with newspaper headings, and it's no exception here.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but you're absolutely right.
All right, so we'll continue listening to the narration of this HBO special on Pretty Boy, Ricky Conlon.
With a 7-year prison sentence looming.
I didn't plan on spending me prime years in a prison cell. I hate letting me family down.
Now what could be his...
All right, so he's talking now to the camera saying that I've let my family down, and I would agree, having weapons for 7 years, that's pretty
harsh.
That is pretty harsh. It's pretty stupid. Like, did he point it at somebody?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did he point it at somebody? Did he rob a bank? Like, just having them, like, come on, he's a gun owner. So what? He didn't register it properly? That's a little silly.
Well, this is Europe, though.
I guess.
Like in the UK, gun possession is taken pretty seriously. People just stab each other a lot, though. From when I lived there, that's. But you'd think someone really wealthy like him would be able to get lawyers necessary to kind of take care of something like this, like make it like community service or something. But I guess not. I guess he's getting 7 years. Maybe he had like an AK or something.
Yeah. Who knows what kind of gun it was? Yeah.
Final bout awaits him at home. In one of his city's most hallowed sporting temples. Here, he'll welcome an opponent who's also never been beaten, and who's boxed his way from California streets to American stardom. Fighting out of the famed Delphi Boxing Academy with a trainer whose father guided icons of the past. Danny Stuntman Wheeler believes he's the sport's future.
Colin's going away.
Okay, so let's just go back there. So we've already met Wheeler, of course. He is the one that knocked out Adonis to get the Mustang. And now we're led to believe he himself is going to get a shot to fight for the championship from Pretty Boy Ricky Conlon. And they showed some old footage there of course, of the Delphi gym. And it's kind of tricky because they were showing scenes of Rocky training with Apollo, but he wasn't training at Delphi Gym. He was training at Tough Gym.
Yes, which is why I think Delphi Gym shouldn't exist. Also, there wasn't any camera. I guess there could have been, but it's like, who was filming that?
Well, you know what's funny? Yeah, because, so they showed, of course, it's one of those movie tropes that can't be avoided whenever a movie decides to show footage from a previous film that the audience saw, but they use it in a way that the people in the film are seeing this film. It's hard to explain. But yeah, so when Adonis or ourselves are watching this HBO special, we are seeing footage of the Rocky films of Apollo training Rocky, but these were, we're led to believe, it could have been a documentarian filming these fighting sequence, but that's not abnormal. There's training footage of Foreman, of Ali, of so right.
Awesome.
Yeah, they could have maybe changed the tint or something. It would have been interesting had they made it look a little bit more home movie like, but that's okay. It just looks like it's literally spliced from the film.
Which it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you were watching this on TV, it looks too film-like. They should have made it look more TV-like somehow, but whatever.
Not a big deal.
No.
It's just being nitpicky.
And Wheeler there is wearing an Air Jordan sweater.
Wheeler seems like a cool guy in this one. Like, he's kind of a dick, we know, because I don't know if he's really a dick, actually.
Well, we talked about that. He knocked out Adonis because Adonis came on his turf and started chirping.
Yeah. He started knocking out guys who train with him and then started saying who's next. So he put him in his place.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, he wasn't really a jerk. I got to take that back. And he seems, like, nice here. And then Pretty Ricky doesn't seem that bad either, because it's like you have a gun possession charge. It's not like he like touched a kid or something. Like,
and he said he feels bad. He goes, "I let my kids down." You know,
So it's not like you hate anyone here. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, these people are fighting.
Yeah,
it's like a good way just to get to know everybody.
Yeah, ironically, the person we like the least is Adonis.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
So far, I'm rooting for
Everyone else is so far pretty good. Adonis is the only one who's kind of a tool.
With a trainer whose father guided icons of the past, Danny Stuntman Wheeler believes he's the sport's future.
Colin's going away for a long time. Now it's my time. I've never lost. I've never even been knocked down, and that's not going to change.
A champion in a dark and extraordinary predicament. A challenger uninterested in a hero's send-off. This is 24/7. Conlon Wheeler.
So they showed footage here of these two boxers. Now we know that's not their name in real life, Wheeler and Conlon, but it looks like these guys are real fighters.
They are. Yeah, both of them are real fighters.
And they do a pretty good job acting, like for the little parts there.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad. Like, obviously, I'm guessing when they were casting for this film, they had a casting call out for actual boxers, and they chose the ones who had acting abilities too. But even so, that's pretty impressive that you can be a boxer and moonlight in a film and do a good job like that. So I know it's Andre Ward is the Danny Stuntman Wheeler, and I can't remember the name of Ricky Conlon. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, we're terrible. I forget his name too.
Yeah, I remember, like, I have a thing with, like, any TV show I'm really interested in or movie, I always look up who the actors really are.
Of course.
Part of me just, okay, Tony Bellew.
Yeah, that's right. I knew once I saw it, because I've heard the names. But yeah, I admit my background on the Creed films isn't very as strong or as naturally comes to me the way the Rocky films did, which is kind of fun to do this. I'm deep diving into this a little bit more. So yeah, Tony Bellew,
And he actually is from Liverpool too.
Yeah, well, that accent, yeah.
Well, that's the thing about, like, English accents is, like, there's so many of them.
So he retired from boxing in 2018, so just recently. He held the WBC Cruiserweight title from 2016 to 2017, so just after this film was made, and challenged once for the Undisputed Championship in his final fight. Outside of boxing, yes, he's portrayed Ricky Conlon. Yeah, so there you go. He did hold the title at one time. 6'3", 200 pounds, boxing record of 33-1, 20 knockouts.
Oh, an interesting fact. You saw Andre Ward, by the way, holding up a gold medal from the Athens Olympics 2004. I guess you saw Danny Stuntman Wheeler.
Yeah.
He actually, in real life, won that medal in Athens in 2004. So,
well, there you go.
That's a bit of art and life and life and art.
Yeah. So, yeah, Danny Wheeler, or played by, what's his name again? Sir Andre Ward?
Andre Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, where did it go? Yeah, we won't waste our... So, we'll get more into them. We should, next time they're on screen. But, yeah, like I've always said, people can always wiki this themselves anyways. But I find this very interesting that these guys are real-life boxers. And they showed footage there from the real fights on HBO. I am going to make an attempt to reach out to both of them and see if they'd like to be interviewed.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a real boxer talk about their time in the ring, what the Rocky films meant to them, if anything. Well, I'm sure it meant something to them. They got to be a part of the franchise. It'd just be cool to hear their stories, and I'll reach out, and who knows. I did reach out to Tarver, who played Mason Line Dixon. He even liked some of my tweets when I tweeted at him on Twitter. I tweeted at him, say we'd love to have you on the show, and he liked it. Like, he liked the comment of come on our show, but nothing ever panned. He was hard to. I couldn't even find an email contact for him. It was very hard. So it's one of those things where
you have to call him out. You have to shake his tree.
Yeah.
You have to be like Antonio, the chicken, and then have like you by the.
I said I'm calling you out, Mason the Line Tarver, or whatever your name is.
Your name is. Call me Collect, if that even exists anymore.
Yeah, call me Collect. So yeah, it's too bad. So I mean, some people would just maybe not like to do interviews, and obviously we know there was some financial discrepancies with Rocky Balboa, the film, and his payments and Stallone. So maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he can't speak too much of it, or who knows? He might be nervous about. And look, we're just ham and eggers, anyways. It's not like we interviewed Academy Award-winning composer Bill Conti or anything. I mean, whatever, But
that'd be a good podcast to do that.
Yeah, whoever interviews Bill Conti, they're a very good podcast. Whoever got to do that, yeah, or
because that's what you hustle, man. You got the hustle in you.
Yeah, or Richard Gant, who played George Washington Duke. It's not a big deal. Whatever,
Can you imagine when you first started this that you would have interviewed people like that?
Or Vince DiCola, who did the Rocky IV and Transformers soundtrack. I mean, or Robert Tepper, who sang No Easy Way Out. But, whatever. Who am I? Whatever. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to reach out to these guys. Now that we're at the Creed films, this was something I always, in my mind, I would do. Because I don't know how many interviews they're doing. I don't mean that as a slight, but they might want to talk. They might want to share their feelings on a nationally syndicated worldwide podcast like this one.
Yeah, they might not look into it. Like if you tell them that it's a big deal podcast, they might just believe you.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, like with boxers, I imagine a lot of them were into the Rocky movies growing up. Like these guys, one was born in 82, Andre Ward. No, not Andre Ward, the other guy. And then Andre was born in 84, so they're both around my age. And most people I knew growing up watched Rocky, and I'm sure anyone who was into boxing watched it. And so it was probably really cool for them to be in a Rocky movie.
Yeah. Let's do it. We'll hit him up. Okay. So Adonis has just finished watching this on his bed, and now he's going to go to something else on his iPad. Oh, I guess not. Okay. Oh, okay, here we go. So he's gone to sleep, or what he was hoped would be sleep, and he hears music playing. Stand by for that.
I hate people shit like this to play their music really loud. Like you're not considerate of other people. I hate. Like I just. Ugh.
So yeah, so he's gone out of his room. He hears music playing. So he's like, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna go find out who the culprit is, who's playing loud music at, 11 o'clock at night. Who knows?
Seems late.
It's late. Yeah, it's probably
But
2.
if I were you, I might be going to bed early, right? Because you get to get up early to train usually, and you want to get your 8 hours at least.
Yeah. And it is a horrible song.
Yeah, complete shit.
Listen to that. I'd be mad too.
Not even a song.
So he's banging on the door. Now, granted, he's angry, but he could give him a second. So he's banged once, waited literally a microsecond. Now he's banging again.
Yeah, he's like Mickey when he was knocking on Rocky's door, Rocky 2.
Yeah.
He was banging on that door like the house was on fire or something. He's like, come on, get out, get out.
Now, he has no idea who's behind this door. I'd be very careful banging on a door at 2 a.m. that aggressively. So somebody could just come to the...
Yeah, but he thinks he can fuck up anyone he meets, right? Like, he just has that confidence.
Okay, so he just kicked the door with his feet, and the music happened to stop like right away as the door opened. And standing before him, we're led to believe, is the lovely and talented Bianca. That's so he's seen this individual. He was expecting some sort of thug or something to come to the door, but it's a young, attractive woman. So now he's kind of defused right away, like, oh, I'm about to yell at you, but a lovely young woman, and now I can't.
In his
do
mind,
it.
he's like, I got a chance of tapping this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's right.
So I gotta play this differently than I would have played it if you were like a dude, so or like an old woman or something.
I'm Donnie.
Yeah?
So, for comedic effect, he's just kicked the door, pounded the door. She opens up, like, why are you pounding on my door kind of look. And he's like, well, I'm Donnie. I'm here to introduce myself at 2 a.m. And she's like, yeah?
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice your shitty music playing really loud, and I was wondering if you could knock that off or I'll kill you.
Yeah.
And I just moved in upstairs.
Okay, what do you want, Donnie? It's late.
I can hear your music.
Yeah, I didn't know it was allowed.
Well, it is. All right, I gotta wake up early and work out.
Oh.
Okay. This is bad dialogue. I'm sorry. This is bad dialogue and bad acting. Like, listen to the actual acting. Just listen to this.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, but listen to the like. Hi, I'm Donnie. It's almost Room bad. The Room bad. That movie. Like, this is an A-level movie, and I know everyone bows at the feet of Coogler, but I'm sorry. This is a director's issue here, where it's like this conversation isn't natural. He could have opened the door and said, "Oh, hey, I'm just want to let you know that your music's playing really loud, but since I'm here, I will introduce myself. I'm Donnie. I live upstairs. I work out in the morning. I have to get up in the morning for my job." He didn't even have to say, because he does sound stupid by saying I got to work out. It's such a bro thing to say. But
yeah, it sounds like a bro.
But he still could have just said, "Why are you playing your music so loud?" And she's like, "You know what? We find out later why, but it's just not a." They're both being stupid about this, and the conversation isn't natural. So listen to it again. Does this sound like a real conversation in this situation? Let's listen to it again.
I'd say to her, Bianca, there's this invention called headphones.
Yeah.
There's really good ones. Get some Bose ones, maybe, and put them on your ears. And you can hear your music really loud, and everyone else can actually sleep at night.
I'm Donnie.
Yeah?
And I just moved in upstairs.
Okay, what do you want, Donnie? It's late.
I can hear your music.
Yeah, I didn't know it was allowed.
Well, it is. All right, I gotta wake up early and work out.
Oh, got you. You gotta wake up early and do your Johns. Keep your body tight. Cool. I'll turn my music down. You won't hear a beep.
Thanks.
So she makes fun of him for working out, and shuts the door on him. See, I'll keep my music down. And he's like, yeah, thanks. And the door slams. Okay. That's straight out of 1985 rom-com hysteria.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder if they're going to hook up later. Okay, let's keep
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, it's like obvious.
So he stands dejected, of course, and then he walks away 2 feet, and guess what happens? Called it. The music comes back on. How can anyone possibly like that music? I'm sorry. Like, is that really something somebody puts on and says, man, I've got to put this on my Spotify. Check it out. Listen to this. Check it out.
Sure. People have all sorts of tastes, man.
No, but does this
I don't like a lot of the music you would like, probably, like heavy metal and stuff. I don't like it. But you like it, so.
No, but it sounds like a song still. It just doesn't sound like a song. I'm not against pop songs. I enjoy pop. Like, there's Katy Perry. There's Rihanna songs that I love, absolutely love, but it's because it sounds like a song. There's a song in there.
Yeah, I know, but some people like different stuff. Someone just might be like,
yeah, well, we're going to get more into Bianca's music when we get to that, because it's just...
I don't like it either, but I'm just saying, like, people are different.
Yeah. Yes, Kyle. I know people are different. I know. I'm different. Trust me. I don't want everyone to like what I like, but here's the thing.
You're saying, how do people like this, right?
No, but I guess here's a better example. I'm making pizza, but I put peanut butter instead of sauce on the pizza for crust. Like, I'm sure there's somebody that would get a kick out of having peanut butter pizza. And all the other, so they'd have crust, peanut butter instead of pizza sauce, and then all the other toppings that you would have on top of the pizza, but instead of sauce, it's peanut butter. I'm sure there's somebody that would eat that and go, this is delicious. All I'm saying is it's not really a dish that is served to most. Now, I know not everyone likes pizza, but now you've literally have made something that most people can't truly enjoy. That song that we just heard, that little track, though it might be music, I don't get how people could enjoy. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Where though it's technically music, there's no song there. Though it's technically food, it's peanut butter instead of pizza sauce on your pizza. That's all I'm saying.
Well, what I'm saying, Ryan, is that Famoso has a Thai pizza that has a peanut sauce.
All right.
Fine.
Not okay.
Right,
I'm not talking. I love pizza.
I'm just fucking with you. It doesn't either.
You know what? I actually love peanut butter sauce. My wife makes peanut butter Thai chicken. It's delicious. It's delicious. I'm just whatever. Pick whatever topping that's not a pizza topping. You get what I'm saying.
I just want to fuck with you.
So, though I understand everyone has different tastes, it's just boggles my mind that somebody's like, I gotta hear this song and I gotta hear it loud. Anyways.
Yeah, that would be niche music for sure.
Yeah.
Like, that would not be mainstream.
I think it's called trance. To be honest with you, I think that's what she sings. I think that's what she sings. We can look it up. This is what we will Google later. It's not going to be this episode where we hear the song that she sings at the bar, but we should Google the style of music that she sings.
I'm gonna smoke a joint this weekend and listen to that music and see if I like it. See if it's any different.
Please report back and let us know.
I will do it.
So now we're getting, it's the next morning. Donnie has woken up from his restless slumber. He's wearing a hoodie. He's out in the streets of Philadelphia looking around. We just saw, garbage take out the dump. And he's going to the iconic Mickey's Gym. Now, it is the building that is used for Mickey's Gym's exterior shot, but it's not what's inside. So it'll be just to see how they film it here, because inside there is not a real gym, obviously. But I got this from Mike Kunda, the tour guide. I read it somewhere in one of the comments, but somebody asked him, like, what's inside that building? He says it's just an empty building.
I wonder where the gym is that they filmed in Rocky.
Oh, studio, I'm sure. Just a studio.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's just easier to film, to make fake. Really? It's because you have all the camera, lighting, catering. Okay, yeah. It's just easier to make a gym. It's probably not that expensive or hard, just to put a ring and makeshift equipment and just have a studio gym. Then you tear it down when you're done. Then you make his apartment. That's what they do. They do a lot of stuff in the studio because it's a controlled environment without onlookers, and they don't have to close down streets or. Okay, so let's. This is the cutaway. That's how they do it. So he goes through the doors and the camera pans up to the Mickey sign. So that's how they do it. So. It's pretty, look how big this gym is. It's kind of a faux pas because he walks through the doors, but look how wide it is. The building wasn't even that wide on the outside.
I don't know.
What?
I guess not. Well, the building, I don't know if it was like, the building I think kind of narrowed at one point.
It does narrow in and widens out, yes. And it looks like he is on an upper floor. This is not the bottom floor. You look at
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because you never get that impression in the first two films. Like this gym is clearly not the same place as the one in Rocky.
It's a bad transition. I don't know. It's a bad transition. It's way too wide and big to be the building we just saw in the exterior.
Looks too nice too.
Well, it's been fixed up, yeah.
I know, but it's like it'd be nice if it was a little bit shittier.
So we got Italian stallion banners. We got pictures of Rocky and Apollo around the building. So it's still Mickey's Gym. It's the classic gym. We saw Delphi Gym, the Apollo's gym, and now we're seeing the Rocky Gym. Is essentially what's happening here. Oh, sorry, say it again.
Which gym's the nicer gym, do you think?
Well, Delphi looked a little bit sleeker.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is like this one seems like they didn't put a lot of effort. Like they just have like they have a couple posters and stuff up, but it's like pretty shittily done. And then Delphi, it's like there's like window like designs and there's like flags and stuff everywhere. There's way more stuff on the walls. Like it looks like they just got like a couple tacks and some posters and put it up hastily.
Yeah.
And then everything's really spread out in this gym too. Like in Mickey's gym, you're like shoulder to shoulder, like everyone has punching bags everywhere. But here you have like lots of space and it's nice and shiny and
So we see Adonis is looking in the ring of a trainer working with a young boxer. Behind them is Mighty Mixed Boxing celebrates Italian Stallion. A big picture of Rocky there.
So that's a little also in the background. They have a decent little setup there.
Yeah.
Looks like those pictures have frames in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just seems very sterile in this gym.
Right. This looks a little bit more hastily put together than Paul's gym. I agree.
But it also has no character. Like it's just very. Delphi gym had more character, I think.
Yeah.
In the old gym, for sure, had more character. This, I don't like this gym at all.
All right, so this young lad who's training in the gym, his record comes up. His name is Leo Sperino. He's the Lion. He's got 17-0-0, 12 wins by knockout. He's the 2012 U.S. Olympic champion. He's ranked number 4 light heavyweight in the world, so he's no joke either.
Yeah. Now, when was this filmed again?
2015.
Okay, so I guess he didn't win a medal. Because, like, the other guy won a gold medal, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, here it's just like he was on the team, but he didn't get a medal, I guess. Which I won't shame him for, because that's hard to do. But, or if he did, they just didn't show it.
All right, so he's giving Adonis a stink eye right now. He catches Adonis looking at him. He looks at him. So yeah, I'll take you out, man. We'll get to that later in the film, of course.
This guy is from Philly. Boxing.
Oh, he's local. He's local.
Yeah, but like in real life, he's from Philly.
Oh, he's another one we have to get on the show.
And then I saw him do a brief interview with someone on YouTube, and he seemed like a cool guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he talks weird though. Like he talks differently than you think he would.
Interesting. Yeah, his name is Gabriel Rosata.
Hey. I help you?
Looking to sign up?
Where you from?
LA?
Hollywood. Which gym? I know all those guys.
Don't have one. More self-taught.
All right, so the corner man who is helping train Sperino, he talks to Adonis and says, "Hey, where you from? Why are you here? Can I help you?" And Adonis is like, "Well, I'm here to fight. I want to sign up. I want to fight here at Mighty Mix. I'm an independent boxer. I don't come from anywhere." You know, being very vague. And this boxer's like, "Oh, I know everyone from that area." But
I'm calling bullshit on that. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, this guy's a creep and a salesman type guy. You can't know everybody from LA. That's ridiculous. Like
first of all, that's on the other side of the country from you, and there's no indication you've ever lived there. You could have gone to LA plenty of times. But LA is huge.
Yeah.
Like how many boxing gyms are in LA? I know all of those guys. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, ugh.
Southpaw.
You know Babo?
Yeah, we grew up together.
So he asks, "Hey, did you know Balboa?" And the guy goes, like, "Yeah, we grew up together. I've never heard of this guy before, but maybe again, there's these peripheral characters in our lives that aren't always in the movie, so to speak. So maybe they did grow up in the hood. Probably. Who knows?
Yeah, probably. He's like a childhood friend or
And that's
something.
how he's got the job there.
Or maybe he was like at Rocky's school and kind of knew him, but then he just name drops Rocky. Like, yeah, I grew up with Rocky. Never talked to me or anything like that, but we did grow up together. But I don't know. I would have liked to know. I could see how it's a distraction and it's not necessary, but just my curiosity, I'm like, what's the history with you two?
Well, most members just work themselves out an extra $20 a month. I can give you drills. Check in on you when I can.
Yeah, that works.
All right, so he's giving him a little bit of breakdown, like, come join. I'll give you little tips here and there, and we'll see what you got. And Adonis is like, yeah, here we go. That works.
Yeah, so it's like,
Oops.
check in on you when I can. So obviously he's got to focus on his son more.
Of course.
And,
So we cut right away to Adonis. He's probably that day he walked in. He's got his gloves on. He's punching the heavy bag. But as he's working out, he keeps looking at the Sprino guy. So it's almost like he's already like, he sees that this is the champ of this gym. This is the top dog. So in his mind, he's like, I'm just going to see how I can handle this. If I had to, could I handle the top dog of this gym? He's already very confident that he can take this guy out.
The Adonis is your typical, like, stereotypical alpha male where, like, he has to dominate wherever he is. Like, he was like that in Tony's gym, too.
Right.
Little Duke gym, where he's like, I'll fight anyone in here. I'll kick everyone's ass. I'll do this. I'll do that. Like, he has to be the guy, right? And he got humbled at that gym, but now he's here and he's sizing up this guy because I think he wants to be the champ, right? So he's naturally going to look at whoever his most dangerous opponent would be, and it's obviously this guy.
Double check.
All right, so we're going to stop it there because it rolls into another scene. But there's a scene coming up right now where he's training at night. He's jogging, but he's going to go I think the next scene is going to go to the club where Bianca is singing. But we'll leave it there because they're going to go on their first date or something. So it's not a bad place to stop because, yeah, we've been recording for an hour and 15, hour and 20. Yeah. You good stopping here or do you want to go to the date?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
This seems like a natural. The date seems like a good spot to pick up because it's a totally different storyline. Plus, I know you really like Bianca so much that you want to be all for an episode about her.
Well, I'll give a little bit of a tease. I've softened on her in some ways, but there's some parts, not to get too much, I've softened on both Adonis and Bianca's characters in part 2. I think in part 2, they come a long way, and so I don't actually hate, this is a strong word, I never hated them, but I'm not as harsh with them as I was after I've seen part 2, because part 2, their characters the likability does come in a little bit more. I like seeing them as a couple. They're a good couple. They're sweet with each other. They're a pretty good couple, and she doesn't play the Adrian, don't fight, she supports his fighting, so I like that part. They didn't recall that. But all that being said, yes, when I first saw this film, I didn't know who Tessa Thompson was. I didn't know her from anyone. This was probably the first movie I've ever seen her in. And I thought she was a pop star. So when I saw this, I honestly believed this was her music and that she was trying to pump her career. And so it was really off-putting. I was like, ugh. But as it turns out, no, she's a real actress. She's not a pop star trying to be an actress or vice versa. So all that being said, yeah, we'll talk about their first date and her wonderful music and singing. And she'll talk more about herself and why her music was loud. We'll get into all those story arcs. Yeah, this has been fun.
I'm pretty rock hard on her, to be honest.
What's that?
I'm pretty rock hard on her, to be honest.
Look, she's not.
You're soft on her, but I'm pretty hard on her.
That's fine. She's an attractive woman. Like, no, and look, they're both attractive people. He's an attractive man. He's got an incredible physique. His charisma's lacking a little bit. I don't know. It gets there. But no, Tessa Thompson is certainly not hard to look at, and I just don't. Yeah, I'm not sold on her acting. They're not very good in this film. They're just, that scene at the door was telling. Maybe the, like, watching it critically. I'm just watching it critically. I'm not harping on them. Just say, oh yeah, they suck. It's just that dialogue. That scene was a little bit rough. But they have better scenes.
Not the best.
They have better scenes. They do. There are some better scenes coming up. And again, part 2, they have some great scenes together in part 2. So maybe their chemistry was just off. Maybe that could have been the first day of filming. Who knows?
Well, we'll save it for the next episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining us on this journey. We do appreciate those who are listening to the Creed coverage. I'm enjoying it. I really am. It's we're already almost a half hour into a 2-hour movie, so it's a quarter way through. It doesn't take long. Like, we're a quarter way through the film, and yeah, it's I'm enjoying this, Kyle. I really am.
Me too. Yeah, I love watching a movie at this pace. It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I think we're good. I'm loving doing Creed and just happy to be here.
Appreciate it. And thanks for being patient with me, Kyle. I know sometimes it's the Navy or the Army in me. I gotta be more politically correct, I guess. It's not to say that our listeners are attractive. Everyone is equally.
Oh my God! You still talking about that? It's totally fine, Ryan.
That's so me.
Talking about it first.
That's so me. Yeah, like, once you get to know me more, you realize it drives my wife crazy. He's like, "We're done talking about." I was like, "No, I'm sorry. It's still in my head. I don't know why. It's just I have issues. I'm boosted." Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. I can't resist. I'll save it. I got a joke for. Okay. All right. Kyle, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Take us out.
Ding, ding.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, as always.
No, it's always a pleasure, Ryan. I have such a blast recording these. Even if I'm I came into this podcast really tired for some reason. I don't know why, but I crashed at 3 p.m. today. I have no idea why. And then the podcast really kind of brightened things up. So,
well, we're both. Look, it's honest. We're both working fathers. It's the Friday night, and it's something I look forward to doing. But yeah, we're also human, so we're a little bit tired. But I think we still bring a good energy to the show once we get going. So appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, Ryan.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.